Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Or shoot over and get some groovy merchandise at society6.com/filmbusters.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
How did you know?
But I haven't said anything that makes sense for you to say. How did you know?
Don't you understand?
I understand. I understand why you want to use it, and it's kind of a funny segment. But I wish that like the answers you'd give would actually make sense to like what we're talking about.
Good.
That's what. I'm glad you agree, Schwarzenegger.
Don't worry. First, I would like to just get to know you.
Okay, that's nice. So we're Filmbusters. We're a film podcast. There's three of us. We're three very best friends. We like to talk about film. Talk about what we love about film, and just have a laugh with each other. Really.
What's your real name?
My name's Paul.
What's up?
Hello. Do you want to introduce yourself, Adam?
Who is your daddy and what does he do? Who is your daddy?
He's asking you, Adam.
I'm staying out of this.
Who are you?
He's asking Adam. Come on.
I'm staying
Who
out
are
of
you?
this.
Who are you?
Please answer, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
I am Adam.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Ben is my daddy, and he's also in the Filmbusters.
What?
He didn't like that answer.
No, he didn't like that
What do
answer.
you want? What do you want? What do you want from me?
I want you to stop.
Wait. Hold on. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is me, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I can't believe we have an A-list star featuring on our podcast. This is a
That's right,
big times.
I am. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for showing up. I didn't think you'd actually
I'm
show
actually mentally scarred by this soundboard, so I don't think I can really talk to it properly.
Stop it!
One day,
up. Stop being
guys,
so rude.
Ben slayed over in my house with Paul, and Ben couldn't get to sleep, so all he did all night was play this soundboard, and it was highly irritating.
No, this is not true.
See, I like this now. You're really like
You'll get the hang
getting
of
it one with the conversation now, Schwarzenegger.
That's funny.
I know, it is funny. Very good.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, see you in a bit.
Oh, that was nice of him to join us, eh?
I know, very nice.
He might come back in the middle of the episode. Who knows?
Well, no, everyone, I'd love to hear his take on Judas and the Black Messiah, really.
Oh, well, maybe... I think he just heard that, and he's thinking about what his response might be
Does he have the vocabulary
at an appropriate time to talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. Oh, dear. that was
Oh,
fun.
wonderful. Wonderful.
How are we all?
Very well. That kind of
Good.
brightened up the podcast a bit. I like it.
Yes. Correct.
Was that a Ben soundboard?
Someone should create a soundboard of us. If we have any die-hard fans out there, please create a Filmbuster soundboard with 5 special vocal effects. 5 from Adam, 5 from Paul, 5 from Ben. And then you can just play them whenever you're watching a film and pretend we're there with you.
What would be the number one word for each of us? I know what mine would be. It'd be, here we go, I'm pressing it now. Lovely.
We have the staple of every episode.
Yeah, staple,
the staple
see,
of every
that's my
episode.
sound.
Adam's... what would Adam's be?
This bit, ready? Well, this is the first one for Adam. And then it just went nowhere. And Ben is, I'm sick of this.
I'm sick of this. Yeah. Good. Trademark it. Copyright it. Make it so. Anyway, Adam, nice of you to join us again. You left us last week. How was your birthday?
It was very good, thank you very much.
Oh, what'd you do?
Still recovering, but yeah, it's all good. I went out and had some drinks, and then I went to a gig, and then I saw my parents. It was all
You went to
very
a
nice.
gig on your birthday, did you?
Well, I went the day before my birthday, but it was that period of time over your
Who'd you see?
birthday. I saw Joy Crooks. Don't know if you listened to her.
Joy Crooks.
Yeah,
Never
I did.
heard of.
Never
Apart from when you told me
She
you
was
had
very
a
good. The crowd were extremely annoying though.
what gig?
Aren't-
What
aren't they
venue?
all?
It was Kentish Forum, but it was like the crowd were like 19 years old, and it was like they've been to their first ever gig.
Look at
And
you
like-
now that you're just a few years older than them. You can look down your nose at the
Yeah.
teenagers.
The 10-year difference, but they don't, you know, when you're trying to get through with drinks and stuff like that, they just wouldn't move out your way, and then they
Yeah.
question you like, why are you pushing in front? It's like, bro, I've got 3 drinks in my hand.
Yeah,
There's
don't you
one of me.
understand gig etiquette? That's how it goes.
Like, just move out the way. Like, it's just all of that kind of shit.
yeah,
And they kept screaming in the middle of the songs and stuff like that. I was like, fuck off.
Hate them all.
yeah.
I think it's because all the students are back in London. Didn't miss him last year.
There's only one gig Paul will ever go to.
What's that?
Nickelback.
They're what?
Enter Shikari.
Oh, Nickelback.
Yeah.
No, what's
I thought
the
you
German
said
band?
something about back. I would definitely go to a Rammstein concert.
That's the one.
Rammstein.
We still need to go to a Rammstein concert, me and you,
Till
Ben.
is doing a live tour next year. So the lead singer doing his solo stuff. His solo album was good.
I haven't actually listened to his solo stuff.
Yeah, he does. He has a very controversial song which I love called "Praise Abort," and the whole song
I
is
can
about
only imagine.
abortion's good. It's great. Should do it more.
Well, good.
Oh, wow.
But
I wanna go
Freedom
see-
to do what you want with your body.
well, no,
That's
but
what
this
it's
is
all
the beautiful
about.
thing about Rammstein. Like all of their stuff is presented in a very demonic, satanic, confrontational way, but all of it is progressive. Like there's a reason they were kicked out of Russia, arrested in Russia before they were going to perform because one of their songs was about gay rights, promoting gay rights. So there you go.
Beautiful Rammstein.
Appearances can be deceiving. See,
Exactly.
exactly. Here we are now.
Right, should we tell them
Entertain
what we're
us.
doing today?
Yes.
So we're doing a Patreon pick. This is For Your References pick today.
Yeah.
It is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes, are you?
I'm always excited to talk to you guys.
Oh, I'm quite excited because I've only watched this film recently, so I'm quite excited now to see what like you think. This is kind of like our end of month roundup, just with the one
yes.
film.
The thing is, I didn't revisit the end of month roundup to get familiar with what you said about it.
I
Again.
can't even remember what I said, so don't worry.
I kind of remember what you said.
I do to an extent because I was watching the film again. I was thinking, oh, this is what I think, and then I think, oh yeah, I already said that in the film, in the thing.
Well, we're going to talk at length about it today. We've been
We
given the
will.
hot topic to talk about.
And speaking of our wonderful patrons, we also have a Patreon channel if you want to check it out. It's at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, where you can get exclusive content, exclusive like film recommendations and stuff like that. You can get a t-shirt, some stickers. We got all of it going on the Patreon
Yes.
channel. And if you would like to join, you can become a patron, just like the likes of Steve from Movie Drone.
Yes, you can. We also have Katie and Oti who picked today's episode.
You can also join, like Julio from Texas.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning. We also have Sean Panner Nicholson.
Hello.
Jamie Russell, who we did a pick from a couple of weeks ago.
Good morning.
Midnight Run.
Good morning.
We also have Nerd Revert. He's over there in Albuquerque these days.
Hello.
This is the only two you're using hello and good morning.
Yeah.
We have Fiona Stewart, the mega wacky Phoenix fan.
Hello, cutie pie.
Oh, that's a bit sexist.
Come on, Adam.
And then we also have Philip Parentini, who directed Boiling Point.
Good morning.
Well, that's very nice. You're all welcome
Why
by
couldn't he
Arnold
be
there.
a cutie pie?
Well, he's obviously not too cute.
No,
You don't know.
Poor Philip.
Sorry, Philip. So there's all our lovely patrons. And for all of you people, well, some of you people, you'll be able to get our Patreon episode directly after this episode. What we're going to be talking about in our Patreon episode later.
We talk about the best speeches in films that are based on real life speeches.
Very good. I thought you were going to fuck that up, but I guess you got it right. Yes.
Yeah, he's right in it. Not like
You were chewing on those
hopefully-
words as each one came out.
Hopefully, it
of your
applies to the ones we've picked.
mouth. Yes. Yes. It wasn't the
I've just
easiest
thought of
topic.
another one. I've done it now. I've got my 3.
Good.
Hey, guess what? On the topic of Katie and Oti, before we move on to the staple, they not only did they bring us today's episode and our
Indeed.
Patreon episode that we're going to record afterwards, but
Indeed.
they finally infiltrated deep into the recesses of my mind and moved my hand so that on my on-demand Amazon Fire Stick, I selected Amazon Prime and I selected 3 weeks trial for the Stars Play channel, and
know
I
what
am
this is.
2 episodes deep into Pussy Valley, baby.
Is it any good?
If you're nasty.
It's great. It's surprisingly fucking good. I'm gripped.
Oh,
It is very sexy.
okay.
Very sexy, but not in a gratuitous way. That's what's interesting about it. Because
Are you
it focuses on a strip
trying to
club.
push us onto this to get us to watch it?
No, I would not recommend it.
Oh, okay.
Not because I think it's bad, but it's not something I would say I would recommend to people. I think
You're like, you need to watch this.
I'm enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying the character of Uncle Clifford, who is already 2 episodes in, one of the most iconic characters in
I
television.
mean, he sounds like a lovely man, just from his name.
Yeah, but what do you think Uncle Clifford looks like, out of interest?
Oh, I imagine him to be like an elder black man with like a greyish beard, and he's got like a flat cap on.
Yeah, so he's probably mid-40s, big, tall, black man, broads, but he's also a transvestite. That is what he is. He's a transvestite who runs the club.
Uncle Clifford.
Uncle Clifford.
Look at that.
There we go. So thanks, Katie and Oti. I'm enjoying that.
Beautiful.
So basically, I laid some chum on Twitter last night. I just posted a GIF with no explanation
saw it.
of Pussy
I saw
Valley.
it.
And I just thought, I'm going to just let that sit there and see when they find it, rather than go, hey, I'm watching it, guys.
Yeah,
Just wanna see if they're
I
gonna
saw it. I
find
knew exactly what it meant when I saw it.
But no, it's good. 2 episodes in, it's good. The only thing I don't like about it is one of the lead characters, I think, has no charisma whatsoever. And unfortunately, yeah, I mean, you don't have to spend all your time with her. She's not like the main character, but I just don't think she's good. I think she was literally recruited because she could lap dance and strip and look sexy doing it, whereas everyone else has been recruited based on acting merit.
Interesting.
Is it a bit
Water
like
Center.
you 2 in the podcast
Water
with me?
Yeah, it's very much like that, actually, yeah.
Oh shit.
You were just recruited for your sexual
Lap
skills.
dancing skills.
Yeah. You're the hot property. You're just there to bring in the eye. You're the eye candy.
You just know how to lap dance around a film and make it look sexy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Throw
Well,
some.
shall we move on before we go on to the main event? Shall we move on to the staple of every episode, which is the quiz?
Yeah.
Yes.
We better. This is a big one this week, right?
Oh yes, Adam, you have to get these points.
I mean, you're going to say that now until the end of the year.
That's
You
right.
have to get these points. You have to get these points. Are you ready?
So,
Yeah.
Paul, can I just clarify? If I get the first question right, have I won the quiz for the year? That's it, isn't it?
Unless I add some extra questions in, technically yes, you have won this year.
We'll see if Santa Claus decides to bring any extra questions at the end of the year.
Oh, might have some extra Home Alone 2 episode
Oh.
questions.
Ooh,
Oh, Ben's going to get all of
Teaser.
them right anyway.
that's true.
Right, just for people who don't know, I do a quiz every episode where I ask Adam and Ben 2 questions based on the film we're doing today, which is Judas and the Black Messiah. If they get the questions right, they get points. If they get them wrong, I get the points. So far, Ben, you're winning on 31 points, Adam on 23, and me on 18.
Wow.
I could easily overtake Adam if you both don't get questions right leading up to the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. So that's where the real chase is on.
Yeah. Ooh. Are you ready for the first question?
Let's go.
Get ready, Adam. Fred Hampton was arrested and imprisoned for allegedly stealing $71 of what?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Adam got it first.
yeah,
He got
fair
it.
enough.
He got it.
I was going to jump in halfway through, but I was like, is he going to ask for the price or is he going to ask for the object?
Ooh.
Well done, Adam.
Adam, you did it. 24 points. Should we just go straight on to the next
California.
one? What did you say? California.
Yes. That was his answer. Arnold's a little bit slow. No. He didn't steal California, Arnold.
Sorry, Arnold, that's not the correct answer. Okay, next
I was
question.
wrong. I'm sorry. Was all a mistake.
Appropriate. Good response.
This would be totally appropriate if it was an Arnie film. It would actually be perfectly synced.
I know.
I feel like we need to bring an Arnie film up in the future. Just
We've
for
never
this
done an Arnie
segment.
film, have we?
No.
No, we did Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh yes, true.
Should have
Missed
been
the
here
trick
for that
there.
one, Arnie. Should have been
Missed
here.
the trick. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
One of the Black Panther programs was called Free What for Children?
Breakfast program.
Yes. Well done, Ben. You got it.
Is it game
So
over
does
for
that
Adam?
technically mean? I don't know. We have to see if
I don't know
get
what
any
it means
extra
because he
questions.
got one as well.
We'll just find
true.
out at the end of the year, I
We'll
guess.
find out at the end of the year, but I think
that might
has me
mean that
taking
you might
it.
be level pegging by the end of the year.
This is how Adam's feeling.
Pissed off.
Say piss. I couldn't even hear what it said.
It's
Piss
a
off.
He said pissed off.
Oh, he is pissed off.
Yeah.
Right, should we move on to the main event?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Judas and the Black Messiah.
I'm free. I need everybody to repeat after me. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. They can't never stop the party unless they stop the people. Way too high. Ain't too high. I'm high off the people. I'm high. I'm high. I believe I'm gonna die high off the people. I'm gonna die for the people cause I live for the people. I live for the people cause I love the people.
Right, everyone, today is a spoiler episode. We'll be talking about Judas and the Black Messiah and go straight into spoilers. No hanging around. So you haven't seen it, you might want to go check it out first and then come back to us, or just get it spoiled for you. Adam, first of all, do you want to do a wonderful plot summary of this film?
Yes, I do. So this film is about Fred Hampton, who was one of the leaders of the Black Panthers, and it is all about an FBI informant. I can't remember his name now. Will, was it?
William O'Neill.
Yep. Who was basically paid by the FBI to infiltrate the Black Panthers and tried to help bring him down because they were worried about the threat that they led to national security.
That's
Yes.
pretty much it, yeah.
Who was the president who was played
It
by
was
Sheen in this?
Hoover, wasn't it?
J. Edgar Hoover, yeah.
But he was the president of the FBI, though, not the America.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. DiCaprio plays him in a film, doesn't he? I haven't seen it.
Nor have I.
Does he?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he does. I haven't seen it either.
No,
Yeah, I
I
remember
haven't.
his face on the cover.
yeah. I'm sure it works better than Martin Sheen's prosthetics.
Yeah, most likely.
Yes, here's a little information for you. It's directed by Shaka King, came out in 2021, this year. It's a current release. It's a this year release, for fuck's sake. So apparently Shaka King, who is a black man, co-wrote this with Will Burson, who is a white man. Do you know what Will Burson is most famous for writing? What his only real writing credits were before he wrote this?
No.
No.
He wrote for Arrested Development and Scrubs.
Wow. Well.
That's tonally, that's a bit
Interesting.
weird, right?
Yeah. Odd.
Daniel Kaluuya won the Oscar. He became the first black British actor. First ever to win the Oscar for... Was it? I actually don't know if it was... No, it wasn't lead, because Hopkins got that, so it must have been supporting actor.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, well,
both of them
they were
got
both up for
part
supporting, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's right. It was also the first film with all black producers to be nominated for Best Picture, and the first film to have multiple black performers nominated in the category of Best Supporting Actor. So, historical in that way. Lakeith Stanfield, who plays William O'Neill, stated in an interview that he needed therapy following his portrayal of William O'Neill. We can discuss him later. As I know he went through some shit recently in the last year or two.
I haven't read any history of like the filming of it, so that's quite interesting.
Jaden Smith was at one point attached to star as Fred Hampton.
Really?
I know.
Really?
What the fuck? That's some real serious nepotism shit.
I know that Daniel's probably a bit too old to play a 21-year-old, but that's a bit too silly if you ask me.
Yeah, Jaden Smith can't act or perform for shit. Neither of the Smith children can, so I don't really know. Yes, anyway, that's just nepotism, and fortunately he was not casted, so we don't have to worry about that.
Very well done, Ben. Thank you. Adam,
Yes.
as usual, seeing as no one's here to guide us of who should go first, do you want to tell us who should do their first impressions first?
Well, I feel like I've already said my first impression, so I want to go Ben, Paul, me.
Okay.
I've already been and done mine, so.
And just to put up front as well, we're going to try something a little different after our Tony Scott episode, where we felt like it was a good little way to do it, where we say our ratings at the end. I feel like it builds up to the ratings. So let's see how that goes.
End of our minute or the end of the episode?
End of the episode.
End of the episode.
Oh wow. Okay, I don't know. I like to know where you're playing with here.
I know, but the thing is, I think I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
But how many
we'll
good episodes have we had when it sounds like we like an episode, but then I gave it a 5 and Ben gave it an 8, and we kind of talk about it in a similar vein. And but
I feel like we focus too much on the rating rather than what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I guess so. I don't know. I feel like we get good episodes from people having different ratings. The ratings really do distinguish where we stand on the film.
Well, let's try it. Why don't we try it on this episode, Adam? I understand what you're saying, and you do have a point, because if we all say we like a film, but one of us gives it a 9, one of us gives it an 8, one of us gives it a 7, it's helpful to know that up front. But let's just see how this plays out. The only reason I say that is also because, like, in that episode that we did, last episode with Stacey, none of us knew our scores until we finished talking about the films, and then we gave it, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so listening recently to Katie and Oti's episodes, they've been talking about black cinema, particularly. They were talking about it on a Candyman episode, and neither of them really enjoyed the film, Candyman. But Oti said something that I thought was interesting, which was, I'm still going to recommend it and promote it because it's a black film. You know, black cast, black behind the scene crew, so I need to push things forward. And Katie was sort of like taking umbrage to it and going, well, even though it's a bad film, you want to promote it and project it? And he was like, yeah. But then how do you push things forwards if anything is allowed to represent you? If anything is allowed to be representative of your story, your culture, your people, anything like that? Like, where do you draw the line about what's good and what's bad in cinema? All I will say is, in comparison to Candyman, of course, this film is black cinema. This is historical black cinema. This is important black cinema. This is progressive black cinema. And I think the reason that this film works, the main thing that works about this film is that it does put the true story of Fred Hampton to light out there in front of people who would otherwise have had no clue who he was. I knew the name before this film. I knew about Black Panthers, but I only knew the name Fred Hampton. I didn't know who Fred Hampton was, what he represented, what his story was. So it brought that to light for me, but more importantly, I think for the black community, the American black community, the younger ones, it will bring to light the struggle, the history, what really went on with the Black Panthers, because I always assumed the Black Panthers, rightly or wrongly, I always thought they were a criminal organisation. Not that they didn't do good things, but I assumed that they did it, everything was done with a gun, everything was backed up with a gun. And that is because decades of media representation has conditioned me to think that way. This film, after I watched it, I had to go away and Google, were the Black Panthers a criminal organisation? And it's very hard to find anything to suggest that they were. Yes, they have their controversies, but for the most part, they weren't. They were a community, a group of black people who decided to try and take power back. And that's what works for me most about this film, is information. It's a lot of great information. Knowledge is information. Knowledge is power. So I appreciate it on that level. The performances from Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield are fantastic. They are both great. But this is where my praise of the film ends, because as a film, as a piece of cinema, I don't think it does work. I don't think enough happens throughout. Even if it's a true story, it's not dramatic enough for me. It's quite slow, it's undramatic, but on the other hand, it's an important, well-performed film that I got a lot of information out of watching. So I appreciated the information and the story. I didn't appreciate it as a piece of cinema. So that is my take.
I'll just go straight into it. Ben, you absolutely nailed my thoughts.
Nah.
Absolutely. I'll say up front, I did enjoy this film. I did enjoy it. And I know it's a true story, so you want to see like the truth play out. But I felt the film was like quite lacking in any real sense of danger for the most part, other than the obvious scene setter of White America and the big finale. But certainly not any danger for Bill O'Neill, considering he was undercover. He was just kind of plain sailing without being put under any pressure from like being found out or anything. Where like when tackling real events, I always find it interesting whether a story is better consumed in like a theatrical or like a documentary format. And like a majority of this, I feel would have benefited from just being a doco instead. and there probably already is one, but having the footage of the real person helps me really build my relationship to the character easier, not the character but the real person, than like a fictionalized version of them. When it comes to true life events, like the emotion is there to be seen, whereas an actor kind of needs to win you around to actually feel it from them. I think it also kind of lacked a bit of a message. Like the likes of Black Klansman really like goes out its way to not only like tell an interesting and disturbing story, it's like incredibly entertaining, but also spouts wisdom throughout and helps to like define and elevate that film. And now you might say like, why does it need a message? Like the writings on the walls, you say this is a true story, so it's there to like educate people, which is true. But I feel like following Bill as the main character wasn't really too interesting. It was that I wanted more focus on Fred Hampton and his uprising solely, and I feel like because he's the one who's got the passion, so I want to follow him. And I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more, like with Bill O'Neill being like snaky in the background. That probably would have been a better story than actually focusing on him.
What, like not seeing him with
like
Jesse Plemons at all?
You know he's in the background, but it's not focusing on him. Like I feel that'd be a bigger impact by the ending as well for that character. Also, other than Martin Sheen, I never truly felt angry at much in this film for a massive chunk. Like, because I thought Martin Sheen was horrible person. He looked horrible as well.
But he did.
That was until the final act that really sucker punched me. And the way they did Fred Hampton like that is fucking sleeping in his bed. It's absolutely sickening, man. And I felt that. I absolutely felt it. And in turn, it kind of opened my eyes like to the like inner turmoil and like moral fibre of Bill O'Neill, like the fight he had between uplifting himself or his race. And at the end of the day, I can always tell if a film has done its job if it makes me feel something by the time I come out of it. And it did. Like, it really did. And so maybe it did do its job after all, basically.
Well, there we go. Come on in, Adam. Yep.
Yes, this is the second time I've watched this. I think I can't really remember what I said on the Patreon, even though it was only about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I think I definitely agree with Ben a bit more this time round, whereas it just seems to go, like I said, maybe like a bit through the motions, if that makes sense. Like everything's happening without any of the drama happening, without any of the risk, without any of the stakes, if that kind of makes sense. Even though there is obviously loads at stake, it just kind of, it's more telling you, like you said, just telling you the story rather than dramatising the story. But you do get so engrossed because like the performances are they are excellent. It's all of that kind of side of it is great. It's just, I think I said this in the last one, but I always compare films like this to like how Black Klansman made me feel afterwards.
Yeah, it's hard not to, isn't it?
Because like if this had come out before, then yeah, but I feel like that film is now just raised the game in a way that these stories kind of should be told to make you feel. It almost makes everything seem, I can't remember if you said it like about Green Book with a little bow on it, and it's like, okay, this is about racism, but you're not going to feel terrible, like you're not going to feel bad afterwards. It's going to make you think, it's going to open your eyes, it's going to make you want to do research. But like Black Klansman made you feel like hollow and like it left you with something inside that needed, like, it didn't make you feel, I mean, you've watched something terrible, because obviously it all comes back down to the real world. I don't think my opinions on the film have changed too much, but it was nice to revisit it quite close again afterwards. And Yeah, and I think that's when the story kind of stood out a bit more than the performances, because obviously you've seen them before. I'm happy to talk. It's so hard
I think the
to
thing
do
is,
it.
like, history is history. Like, it should
Yeah.
educate you. But when it comes to like a theatrical thing, it's like it needs to be entertaining, right? And it's not saying that this film wasn't entertaining, but the way that Black Klansman's laid out, it's funny, it's educational, and because it's so entertaining, it almost, when those big hits come, they hit harder.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I feel like that's what Black Klansman had over this film. The whole story of Fred Hampton, like, wonderful. Like, you need to know it. It's educational. But that's why I feel like this could have been done in a documentary. Because I don't think the story leading up to Fred Hampton's horrible demise would have been better explained with archive footage and stuff like that, I feel.
I mean, I think you could. There's still value in telling the story cinematically, but they needed to be more cinematic. Like, yes, you can do a documentary, but there's still value in putting it into a film. But this wasn't cinematic enough. What we needed, like, you're right, Paul, Fred Hampton is compelling. I liked seeing Bill O'Neill's stuff with the FBI as well, because then you've got that conflict. But the problem with Fred Hampton in the film is that he is presented as this absolute saint. We don't see any complexity to his character, and to make him more compelling as a cinematic figure, we need to be slightly conflicted about him. We need to see him maybe do a couple of things away from the Black Panther movement in his personal life. The only glimpses we get of him, outside of him being chairman, is when he's with his girlfriend talking about his baby, and they are the worst scenes in the entire film for me. I know they're probably meant to make you feel more compassion and more empathy for him. He's going to be a father and all that. They were tedious. Those scenes were very boring. I didn't care for that at all. Okay, you're going to have a baby. This is very dull stuff. I don't need to hear this poem that's been written and all of that. Show me some humanity that I can really connect to. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me see something more to you than just the chairman up there, so that I can then believe you more when you step up to it. Because Bill O'Neill, he was like, main point of contact for the whole film, because we are seeing more than just him there as a snake. We're seeing what's going on behind the scenes. We're introduced in the film to him first before we meet fucking Fred Hampton as well. And I think that's what was needed for Fred Hampton, just that little bit more to make it cinematic. But it is still a very good film, because I, much more than many films I've seen this year, I am informed for the first time about this topic.
That is what's so good about it.
And I think it works. What you're saying about documentary, yes, it's true, but I watched, I don't know if either of you guys did, I watched the documentary that they mentioned at the very end of this film, the one that he gave. I watched that on YouTube. It's available. What was it called? I can't remember what it was called now.
Eyes on
something
the Prize?
too.
Eyes on the Prize 2 or something.
Yeah. So I watched that, and it's very just tedious.
Is it? What is it focusing on? Is it focusing on Bill?
All of it. Everything that's happening in the film happens in the documentary. So it's the film is a very, very faithful adaptation of what really happened. Incredibly faithful. So credit to them for that. But it just didn't do enough to pull me in to the heart of the story.
I am very glad that they did do it in this way, because you do get those great performances and stuff from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and maybe the only way they could have done it is maybe cut it through with the interview of Eyes on the Prize a bit more throughout the whole film, rather than just at the end.
Well, I tell you one thing, right, that they didn't explore enough for me. It was the conflict of the Bill O'Neill character. Because, we see a couple of moments like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, I agree.
They needed to show it more. And the reason that I don't think it worked is that the kid was 17 in real life when they used him. That's dramatic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was going by what he looked like in his film. He definitely looks like...
I know. But
they didn't make everyone look too old. Like, you don't know Fred Hampton's 21 until like the end of the film. If you ask me, you'd expect him to be like 30.
But that changes the game entirely. How you feel about Bill O'Neill is different when you see him, Lakeith Stanfield, a 31-year-old man playing him. But then when you find out Bill O'Neill was 17, a teenager, strong-armed by the FBI to go undercover, that changes the colour and the texture of the whole
that
thing.
would have changed the film totally. Yeah.
The fact that he killed himself after doing that interview says a lot about the way he felt about everything. It was almost like, I need to get this off my conscience, stay in my part, but that's it. I'm gone after that. Like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, it's like that. I totally agree with you, Ben. It's like they didn't delve too deep into how he was feeling. It's like, were they trying to vilify him a little bit because all we got from him was, can I earn money from this?
Yeah,
that's all we really got about it. And then him. There's moments where you think, oh, his ideas are changing. Now he feels like he's quite sympathetic, but then it undercuts it with, oh no, he had a wire on.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean,
give me direction.
I think he is in the film. Let's talk about the film, not reality. I think he is a villain in the film.
That's what I felt like they were pushing. Yeah,
he is a piece of shit because he is inside that. If not at first, once he gets inside that movement and he can see the good work that they're trying to do, and he sees firsthand how the police respond, then you got to. It's fucking tough though. Yes, he's a villain
stuck between a rock and a hard place, though. Mate.
He is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yeah.
But like the end of it, when he says it in the end of the interview, like he said, "I did something," and it's like you did and you didn't know.
He did fuck all, mate. That interview at the end, he's deluded. He did nothing to help that organisation. He may have been a soldier.
He still was in some ways, though. He was helping out the Black Panthers, though. When he rebuilt the whole,
how he rebuilt the whole thing afterwards. Do you know what that's like?
Yeah, I know it's like, but then it's like at the same time, everything, a piece of good you undid it all straight away.
Mate, Adam, what that's like is me being real supportive of you in your relationship, yeah. And I'm sleeping with your girl behind your back.
Yeah,
that's what that's like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a snake. He is a snake. Totally. And whether or not he was forced to do it or not, that's a different question. But he was a snake. He was not a part of that movement. He wasn't the spirit of that movement. Like, they should excommunicado him from the Black Panther history books. Like, he was not a soldier for them at all. But then when you flip to reality, guy was a 17-year-old kid being told you're going to jail for 5 years. When you're 17... I don't know how you would have felt at 17 if you were told, right, you can go to prison for 5 years, or, like, we're white men, so this is a very different angle we're coming from. We can't begin to understand.
Yeah, it's like you're telling the Bill O'Neill story, right? And it's like, show me the struggle. Look at on a level, he's a product of the system. They've basically molded him and taken him and used him for their own means.
Yes.
That should have been a struggle. We should have seen that.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
But then, you know, if this is a film that wants to focus on Fred Hampton as a Fred Hampton biopic, they probably don't want audiences to give too much of a fuck about Bill O'Neill.
But don't you feel like, so why is he labelled, why is he the first person you see? Why is he he's pretty much the lead?
I guess that's the dramatic element that they hoped I think that's where they hoped most of the drama would come, and it is. That's where all the drama comes from. It's just him in scenes. Like, are they going to find him out now? Like when he's having to prove how he can hotwire a car, when that guy spots him, when they go and meet the Crowns, when he's like, "Oh, I'm going up to the roof," but then he tries to fuck off. Like, every time we see him, we dislike him, I think. Yeah,
this is the fine balance because you're trying to tell a story to educate people about Fred Hampton, but you're focused on the man who basically betrayed your race, right? He's betraying your race. So trying to give some depth to him at the same time and make him almost the main character. Why are you doing it? Make it about Fred Hampton.
But then they would have needed to change how they did the film because, as we established, Fred Hampton, they're just portraying him in a very sanitised way.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but I
then there
want
would have been
you
no
to
drama.
Give depth to him. Like, as you say, the depth we got for him was the whole he's having a baby and he's in a relationship, which does give depth to people, but that's not the depth of his movement and his passion.
No.
So that's what we needed more of.
The thing that is interesting about Bill O'Neill and Fred Hampton and their different paths in this film is that Fred Hampton towards the end of the film, is about to go to prison for 5 years, and he's like, fuck it, I'll do the time. The movement's more important. Whereas Bill O'Neill is like, 5 years, fuck no, let me sell my people out.
Yeah. That is it's a big telling point right there.
Did you two ever feel sympathy or anything for Bill O'Neill?
No.
Not really, no.
Not really.
I did. A little bit. Even though he's
I never know.
presented
I
as
don't
a
want him to
snake.
get caught by the Black Panthers, but I didn't want him. I didn't think he deserved any praise, let's say.
I don't
No,
know.
he didn't deserve no
I don't-
praise, no.
No, I don't feel we got given enough for me to feel sympathy for him, because at no point I felt like he was going to get caught.
Didn't you? At
And
that
I just felt
moment
like he was
where they
taking
put
money.
a gun to his head in that car, you didn't think that they were, because I was surprised. That one I was like, oh shit. I thought he was going to be a reverse Judas at that point, where they were like, right, you're fucking spying on us. No, go back and you tell us what the FBI know.
That's
But that
interesting.
didn't happen.
That did slip my mind that bit, but it's so early on in the film
Yeah,
that
it is.
it's like, is this the only bit of conflict he's going to have?
Yeah.
And that pretty much is, apart from the bit where he finds, they're saying they got a mole, and he does that silly thing of, I would have beaten him up, I would have done this.
Yeah,
which
see that I
was
found
little
a
bit-
really hard
a
to
little
read
bit
scene.
weak.
Yeah, it did feel
Yeah.
weak, right? Because it was like, are you
Yeah.
going for comedy relief by having
That's
him?
it. That's
Yeah.
it. It went for comedy on that. It's like, give us some like levels to him about he should be scared at this moment, rather than playing off as just a bit of a comedy.
Yeah, but it's all right. So let's talk Fred Hampton then.
I thought Kaluuya did an absolute wonderful job. You could see the passion from him in the speeches towards the people,
Yeah.
and it was a powerful performance. It was.
I wasn't sold on him straight away. I got to admit, I am now.
I can get that. I was sold on him by the end. Yeah, he deserved to get that Oscar. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Who was he up against? Can you remember? Obviously Lakeith, but who else?
Lakeith. I mean, of course we should have given it to. Imagine
Imagine giving it to the
won that.
Judas instead of the Messiah. How would they have felt? Judas gets the award, not the Messiah.
Oh shit! It definitely went the right way.
Yeah.
It should call the film a Black Messiah and Judas. Doesn't have such a good ring
flow
to it.
as well, though. Yeah.
Yeah, his performance was incredible, and it does make you want to learn about more. But yeah, like you said in your little thing, it's like you're led to believe that they are a criminals organisation. But then I guess that's quite similar to the way you're led to believe about Malcolm X, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're led to believe that he was a criminal the way he was going about it, and Martin Luther King was doing it the right way. But
Yeah.
it was just two different people's way of trying to get to the same ends. One of them was by a bit more radical ideas. I think that's the way to say, isn't it? And one of them was a bit more peace and speeches and preaching. And like you said, there is more of a story that could have been told about him. Like, it could have almost been the Fred Hampton film, like him coming up from a young age. Because like when you see him at 20, well, he must have been 20 when the film started, being this guy. It's like, how does a 20-year-old get to that stage?
I know. I think it's incredible to think that guy was fucking 21 in real life, and he was holding court in rooms the way that he was in this film. And having that insight, that knowledge to be able to not only like understand the situation your people are in, but then think and ponder what are the solutions, how do we organise, strategise, how do we mobilise and get up there on a stage and present that so compellingly to people who are decades older than you.
And also people who were
absolutely.
like reacting badly to him when in the very first one, in that very first speech, the people who were like walking out and all of that. It's like,
Wait, what speech were they walking out at?
Yeah, they were walking out. It
the
was
very
the first speech
guy
we got from him.
when he was talking
Yeah.
about your Dashiki won't save you, when the guy was walking out of the room.
Oh yes. Yeah, because it was a revolutionary black voice at the time.
Yeah.
I definitely, before this film, I didn't know enough about it, but I definitely was led to believe that the Black Panthers were, of course, okay, for the progression of black people, but I was led to believe that, okay, there was an unsavoury element to the way that they did it. And I'm sure there is, definitely beyond this film. This film definitely portrays them in the best light they can, because for the most part, there's not really anything too negative about them, apart from a revenge killing here and there.
And the shootout with the police in the building.
Like, they were armed, but that's the Black Panthers are like, okay, the police are armed, so we're going to arm ourselves against the police because they're killing us in the streets. So fine, I'm with that. I won't call you criminal because you're doing that. And in America, everyone's got a fucking gun. So, like, I think Americans are sick in the head anyway that they all think they're entitled to fucking guns. Anyone who thinks they need a gun to live, I mean, that's just a sick island over there. They do, because their enemies are all armed up and loaded. So it's hard for free British white guys to say whether that is a reasonable response or not.
I mean, it's totally the Black Panthers, like, the way they go about things is sympathetic, because at the end of the day, if people are fighting with fire, you're going to fight with fire.
Yeah.
And there's two ways of going about things. Just like Martin Luther King, he thought the pen was more powerful than the sword. That's the way he went about things.
Yeah.
And that is the interesting approach, just to see the progression of each of those theories. And I think I have sympathy for that.
White people, or white America, certainly would like to say, oh, yeah, Martin Luther King was a good man, as opposed to Malcolm X, because Martin Luther King, exactly as you say, peaceful protests, and Malcolm X is like, let's take the war to them.
Yeah, rise up.
And that's why I love Do the Right Thing so much, because that whole film is how black people have these two role models at the time, and they had completely disparate views on how to move forward.
Yeah.
And he uses them two quotes at the end.
But it is very much like choose your moment. Like, both can be a good thing. Sometimes you should use your pen, sometimes you have to use your fire to make your point.
But it kind of felt like Fred Hampton represented both in a way here, because although he was saying shit like the more pigs dead, the more satisfaction, he was also like, no, this isn't, we don't, like when Lakeith came to him pretending that they were going to blow shit up, he was like, fuck that, we don't operate that way.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to skip, I really like the scene where right before he's killed, but like when they're all having that meal together, and they're all like, oh, we can get you to Algeria, this and that, and he's like, you're putting all your energy into how you're going to get me out of here, when really you should be working out when we're going to build this fucking medical clinic. That's the priority. It's not me. I was like, I respect that. Now, that was the point where I was like, really, you are a good man. You are a good man, because you are willing to take the years because you want the movement to progress. I liked that.
Yeah.
That was like a little
your
last
personal
supper.
battle.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sad thing about this film, is that we could have had the Fred Hampton story here from growing up. How did he get to the point he was, where in this film we almost join him at the start of his downfall?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's one I kind of want to know how he got there, as much as I want to know of everything else.
Like, that would have been a more powerful story to tell, his story, and then you get the horrible end that he has as well.
But do you think, and again, this is where it becomes complicated for us to be talking about this, like, for the black community watching this film, those who aren't aware or aren't too aware of the Fred Hampton story, is it more powerful if you are being forced to see the betrayal throughout his story, so that when he is killed at the end, you feel more anger, more vindicated to do something yourself, as opposed to just seeing Fred Hampton being very inspirational, and then killed? Like, if you see that betrayal throughout,
you could still have the betrayal as much as you could have both of their lives leading up until that point, a bit more in tandem to, like, why.
But then maybe Fred Hampton's backstory isn't very interesting. Maybe it's less interesting than what was going on. Probably, like, if we had just a Fred Hampton biopic of, like, him growing up as a child and the things he saw, that doesn't. I don't know.
We're questioning people who have probably actually done some research into his story and decided what needed to be told.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't done it. They've done
ultimately, this is like Black Klansman in that same way, where you've got someone undercover, but undercover in the Klan as opposed to undercover elsewhere.
Yeah. That's why they almost reflect each other, and why one does something better than the other, I feel, because it is literally someone's undercover in an organisation. And it's a very Black Power kind of story.
I mean, Spike is a fucking far better filmmaker than. I'm not saying that this guy's a bad filmmaker, but I'm saying he clearly is a superior filmmaker, and he was able
this is
to.
only this guy's like first film, isn't it?
I think it's his second.
Okay,
but yeah, but it's not bad for him to have all the fucking award nominations.
Oh
mate.
yeah, of course.
He's still
100%.
done well on that front. And like, kudos to him. Like in terms of cinematically, it was very well shot. It looked very. I don't know how to explain it. It's like brown newspapery all the way through. It had this tinge of brown over everything. It felt like we were watching the 70s. Because when was this? This was the 70s, yeah? I think.
Late 1960s.
Okay.
So it probably goes into the 70s.
All right. Well, late 1960s, 70s. It has that aesthetic all the way through it. And I could believe that it was that time. But there wasn't anything particularly mind-blowing about the direction outside of that. Like, you could have really built and tapped into some of the shit that was going on. Like, here's a good example, right? There was a moment in the film that could have been much more hard-hitting, but because of the direction, I was a bit lost as to what was going on. So it's the scene where Fred Hampton comes out of jail for the first time. He goes to headquarters. They're all eating and milling around, and then the guy gets a phone call to say, I can't remember who it is, has died. The guy
it's the guy who shot the cops in the shop. That's
right. So we hadn't established that guy as a significant enough character for me as an audience member to understand that phone call was about him. And then the way that guy, Jake, responds...
Yeah, it's like, why is he so important?
Why is he so important to him? We haven't seen that. And and the only thing on rewatch that I could work out was that he went to visit him at the hospital when he had been shot up and was reading through the door. Yeah, I watched it twice. And he was reading to him through the door. So, okay, we got that. But you almost missed that. You missed that.
There's also that bit where the police are walking him down the corridor. And you're almost led to believe that the police then killed him. Because he was saying he was doing fine. And it's like, no, he's dead. And then there's a shot of the two.
Yeah, that bit confused me because it almost showed as if like they've made out he's dead.
Yeah, they're smiling down at him like it's really sinister.
They killed him.
It showed him in a hospital bed, right?
Yeah, but he's been wheeled down the corridor. Originally, we see him in a hospital bed under police guard. But then, when he goes to talk to that guy who I think is a janitor at the hospital, the guy was like, they moved him. They moved him to another hospital. And we see that cut of him going, where the fuck you taking me?
Oh, okay, and they killed him.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's
or
what I
they
thought
just let him die somewhere.
That confused me a little because when I saw that, I thought, are they trying to take him away and they're going to use him like as an undercover kind of thing, or like I didn't really understand what they meant because it was intercut with they said he's dead, and then after that it showed him getting wheeled out in the hospital bed. I thought, oh, he's not dead.
Yeah, it was.
That's what made me believe.
Yeah, the direction needed a little something more to help patch the story, and
this is what I kind of mean where it was kind of going through the motions, and I like the idea you're not going to. You obviously don't want to be told everything, but at the same time, it's like you could dwell on bits a bit more and turn them up a bit. It kind of seemed like a 6 like the whole way through the film.
Yeah. But the content, everything that's in there is great. The story needs to be told. I'm glad I watched the film. I just wish it had been... when I say cinematic, I don't mean like epic. I mean more engaging as a film. Like, that's an information. Like, I could go online now and find an essay on a topic I know nothing about and read it and be informed. But it takes a skill to take that essay and put it into cinematic format and make it a piece of cinema as opposed to a piece of information.
Do you feel like it should have been dramatised a little more?
A little more, and I'm not saying to lie about things, but just the focus, like even the soundtrack, the style, the way it was shot, maybe add a little flourish to the story, but everything was very staid. It was all just very, here's a shot of this conversation now, and I love dialogue films. But this was not revealing dialogue. This was about empowerment, mobilizing. It was speech. It was like a big speech. It was like watching a 2-hour speech. Which, great. He was a fantastic speaker, but give me something a little more than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think about the shootout at the end?
Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
It was the way that was shot was absolutely brilliant. It was haunting.
That was very
and
shot
it
well.
was to see the you actually see the bullets going in. It's like horrible, absolutely disgusting.
There's the part where the guy tries standing up, and he's obviously been shot in the back of the legs.
Yeah, and they're like, turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're they've come in, pretty much shot everyone, and they're saying, stand up.
I know,
Come
man.
here now.
You've shot the back of my fucking knees out. You want me to stand?
That is when I literally sat up in my seat like, this is what this has been building up to, this moment.
Did you think that William O'Neill was going to confess right before when he stands up and he's like shaking and sweating?
Oh yeah, but he said he gives him the drink, doesn't he?
Yeah. Do you think it's a kind, like, okay, obviously he's a cunt, but giving him the drug, do you think is that a kindness or not? Like, if he knew he was going to die anyway.
Is that what he did? I didn't see that.
That's why the chairman wasn't waking up.
That's why he didn't wake up.
Ah.
That was the whole point. That's because the guy in the bar gave it to him.
Yeah, I know. It makes so much sense, but
that just whole, when it's focused on the girlfriend's face, and it's just there in the background saying, "Oh, he's still alive" or something.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh god, it's coming." That was horrible, so horrible.
Now that scene, direction again. Why I like the framing, but why did her expression not change 1 second when she heard that bullet go into him? Didn't change.
She's almost.
Is it
The only way I can
inevitability?
describe it is she's already like at a low. Like she can't get like.
It's like she knew it was coming.
It's like she's
Inevitable.
already dead, and you're just kicking her again, and like obviously
Yeah.
you're emotionally dead now. That's the only way I could.
I know what you mean, though. It's like there's a difference between him being alive and dead. At that moment, he was shot. That you would have crumbled.
Yeah, like now he's actually dead. They
Yeah.
just shot him.
Point blank while he's sleeping.
Apparently they filmed that on the 50-year anniversary of his actual death.
Got that scene.
Yeah. And Daniel
That is
Kaluuya was
equal
like...
parts uplifting, equal parts horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was like... Because on that day they also shot some of the conversation from the night before, and he was like, if it had been filmed on any other day, he wouldn't have been able to give it the intensity. Like, he was like, it was overbearing, that feeling, doing that. Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
Yeah.
That is horrendous, yeah. But why did the guy in the bar even give him the thing to put into the chairman's drink? Is it because the FBI wanted him not to be able to fight back, so that's why they were like, drug him before we storm in?
Yes.
Because if they were going to
Yeah.
storm in anyway, take him unawares.
It's making sure they get the job done.
No.
But it was all very very odd, that scene when he gives him the drug, and then it was almost like they made it into a twist where he gives him his FBI badge.
Yeah. Explain that to me. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's like, why are you making that into such a big deal?
I
Yeah.
feel
It's
like he was like he knows what he's been playing at. He knows the whole time. Like,
What do you mean?
I feel like
of course.
he might be the pimp that the guy he stole the car off at the beginning.
No, the guy who stole it off was a man who was in the
He was one of the
gang.
crowns in
Yeah,
the
but I
club.
mean,
gang.
obviously he's
Yeah.
been stealing cars before. That wasn't the first car he stole.
I think it was just a way of saying, this is what this is all building up to. Here's your badge back. We took it from you in the beginning, and now you can have it back because this is the end of the road.
Right, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But it was still very weirdly put across. It's like, here's my badge. I am you.
Yes, I know. Again, I think this all comes down to direction. Just strange storytelling. Like, that story, that's a case of show, don't tell, which is like a key rule of cinema. Like, if you can show something rather than just put it in dialogue or outline it, do it. But they did it, and it's like, well, what does this mean?
Yeah. It's almost like, why would he have your badge?
Yeah. And also, like, yeah, what's the significance of showing it either? Anyway.
Yeah.
I really liked, in his limited role in this, Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, I really like Jesse Plemons.
As an
He's
actor,
very
he's
good.
come out of nowhere, because in Breaking
Yeah.
Bad, I didn't like him. As an addition to the cast, I didn't think he was good. I never cared for Todd. But everything I've seen him in since, he's been wonderful.
I feel because you might not care for Todd because he was an absolute dickhead.
Yeah.
In the roles he's played since, he's had a lot of layers, and he's normally played quite a empathetic guy. He clearly had layers in this. He, like, although where he got pushed to in the end, he was very hesitant throughout.
Yeah, exactly. So he is like, I found him possibly one of the most interesting characters in the film in terms of that layers, because I couldn't work out whether he was bad or not.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Do you think, because he was like that whole part where he's talking to Hoover, and he's asking him about what do you feel, and you can obviously see that he doesn't really want to get that
scene
involved.
with Hoover was a motherfucker, man. What they say, like Hoover sits him down and he's like, "How's your boy?" And he's like, "Oh, he's got a strong arm on him." How's your daughter? What is she? 8 months now?
Yeah,
and then
that's where this is where my anger was. Well, I was like, this is getting me angry now.
What did Hoover say? Hoover
this.
said, and what he said, "What are you going to do when she brings a Negro home?"
Yeah.
And guy's like, "She's 8 months old," and he's like, "And you ain't answering my question."
It's kind of like at that point, you know, he's not. He doesn't know what to say, does he? It's like I feel like he doesn't personally care, does he? As much.
He doesn't really take any joy out of the fact that he's got this power over Bill O'Neill, but he does at the same time. There is also a certain you do what I say. Don't get ahead of yourself.
I feel like he knows the job. This guy, in layman's terms, is a criminal. He stole cars, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing his job, just like any other informant. That's how he'll deal with them. But he still has respect for them. He has them in his house. He gives him alcohol. He sits him down. He doesn't mind socializing with him. So I don't feel like he is a racist person. But I feel like he's been pressured into the racism by his colleagues and his boss.
Yeah. Did you recognise the guy who is writing the leaflet? Who writes "Dig In"?
Writing the leaflet.
You know, the couple of FBI guys are writing the fake leaflet that they're going to dump on the doorstep of the Crowns to make it out like it's come from the Panthers. And he's right, dig in. He is Lonnie from Halloween Kills.
Of course he is. That's why I reckon I knew I'd seen him recently as well.
Yeah.
His face. Yeah, I knew I knew him from somewhere.
That whole dig in thing, man. White people are so uncool.
Yeah,
fucking idiots.
Absolutely.
But strategically, a clever move from the FBI. And Fred Hampton clocked it. He was like, "This is not from us. The FBI have written this. And if the Crowns used their brains, they should have Fred Hampton in that scene should have said, why would we explicitly make a threat in a leaflet to you and then I'm coming to you for peace?"
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And then the guy was like, "Oh, you want to put it off on the law. It's not." He didn't articulate it that well, though, I thought, considering Fred Hampton's meant to be clever with his words.
Yeah. It's very sloppy work from the FBI.
Very. Dig in.
I think that is. So I think the stakes. I know this is not a thing to say because it sounds horrendous, but the stakes come from white people being horrendous. So the white people almost need to be there to make you feel the hatred.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because without white people, all the black people are mobilising and coming together for the most part. Because Fred Hampton manages to get the Crowns on board. He gets... I don't even know what that organisation is. It looked like... I thought they were racist motherfuckers. It was the Confederate flag meeting.
Oh,
and who were they? They weren't the KKK, were they?
I think it was just a bunch of average racists rather than hardcore racists.
Just the standard day-to-day racists,
I don't know if it was... Because they felt like they were joint in a cause together. Like they weren't racist.
Was it something to do with the war? Was it something... Vietnam?
Well, that is maybe.
No, it was before Vietnam.
It'd have been Korea. It'd been the Korean War.
Yeah.
Well,
he also said to Jesse Pelham's character, didn't you kill when you were in Korea, didn't you? You didn't know anything to get home back to your daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It probably was something to do with army related because the Confederate flag has been reappropriated as a racist flag now.
Yeah,
because it's more about
it was only a flag. It was only an army
country.
flag in the Civil War though, because it was the flag of the South. And then the American was the flag of the North, and then whichever one won the Civil War was the flag that stayed. In my understanding, I don't know the Civil War that well, but
I just feel like they weren't a racist group because otherwise, why would they join the people they're fighting against?
Yeah, that's right. They did a lot of this is why the film was good, and I'm glad that I watched it because to be informed that the Black Panthers also teamed up with these other externals to sort of be the voice of the oppressed. They were like strong proponents of gay rights, strong proponents of women's rights as well. That's all very progressive for the late 60s, man.
Yeah.
For an organisation that was being
It's
smeared as
equality
a
in all
terrorist
levels,
one.
not
Yes.
just equality for themselves.
Yeah.
They
And I
always
think-
like there's power in numbers if we go together.
Yeah, but I this is white privilege, if you want to call it that, speaking now. But whenever I see in films these leaders like Fred Hampton, who are very inspirational and seem very intelligent, have a progressive plan, whenever they say kill the police or kill the pigs and stuff like that, I think that is where you lose me slightly. And I know that black people are being murdered by police to this day, constantly, left, right, and centre. But is that the response of an intellectual, progressive group?
Yeah, is that progression?
Let's kill the people who are killing us. Yes, that is that's a vindicated answer. You got every right to say that. Yeah, but is
Are you
that
saying
the
you've
way
got to be the
forward?
better person still?
Surely, because
Don't
killing
go
the
to their
we
level.
know killing the police isn't the answer. That's not, because more police come in, so it's not the answer. So what is? We ain't gonna fucking come up with it. It's not our fight. Well, it should be our fight, but the response needs to
Yeah.
come from them. I don't know. I just find it hard. Like in that moment when he was talking about killing the pigs, kill one pig, get a bit of satisfaction. Kill all pigs, get ultimate satisfaction. I was like, I know what you mean. Yeah, the corrupt
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, fuck them. But when
It's
you
like-
say
it's
like
like-
that,
It's like saying, let's kill Hoover or let's kill Jesse Plemons. They're two very different people.
exactly. And you know there are good police. You need police. This is why, and we I don't want to expand it out, but over the last year and a half, like defund the police. I get defund the police and then fund other programs that can prevent crime from happening at a later date. I agree with that. But things like ACAB, all cops are bastards and stuff like that, I don't ascribe to that belief because, yeah, loads of them are, but loads of them aren't as well.
Yeah.
But that's not an excuse, that whole thing of not all men, not all cops is not an excuse. But at the same time, you can't say murdering police is the answer. That's where I feel, I don't know, again, in some fantasy world where I'm black, I feel like I could be on board with that Black Panther movement at the time. But if I heard something like that, no, I don't know. It's very fucking easy for me to say. It's very
know,
easy for me to say
it's-
from my privileged
it's very-
position.
yeah.
I get
If
what
your
you're
brothers
about.
were being killed left, right, and centre every day by police, you would want them dead, wouldn't you?
That's the fine line, isn't it? It's how far will your words go?
Yeah, but it's also like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
right.
maybe it depends on the person. It's like you rise above, but then there's also that whole thing of don't get even, get better, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
get ahead.
We're all so white.
We are.
With our white ideas.
Oh, anyway, should we do the scores for this film then?
I guess. Have you got anything more to say? I think that's about right.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with our conversation.
Oh, the only thing I wanted to say was that the final credits at the end, when they were talking about what happened, isn't that crazy that in that shootout, 99 shots
Yeah.
from the police,
Yeah.
one from the Black Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah.
My.
That's the education right there. That's the stuff that really means something.
Yeah. That whole last 5 minutes was the most impactful part with the shooting, and then you get all the facts, and then you see the guy talking about it all.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why this film kind of does work for me on a level, because it does leave you with that. If that happened at the beginning, then you'd have forgotten about it by the end of it. But it's the fact
Yeah.
that it leaves you on that note.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
It's all about how you leave the
Absolutely.
person feeling, not how you started.
And do you know what? I didn't cry, but I felt a little at that moment when it said Fred Hampton Jr. is the party chairman now. That made me go, that's nice. There we go. The
And then put a
future.
picture up of him and his mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sweet.
So I very much admire Fred Hampton.
I totally agree.
And his name is the name I'll remember, not Bill O'Neill.
Yeah, exactly. That is the big takeaway.
Yeah.
Give me more Fred Hampton, less Bill O'Neill.
Yes. And if they ever do a musical about this, called
That'll be a fun,
Jesus and the Black Messiah Superstar.
Shozana Hannah shit.
Yeah, exactly. We liked Judas in the other film. We don't
Oh, we
like
did.
Judas in this film.
No, indeed. Go on, Adam. What's your score then?
My score hasn't changed. I still give this film an 8 out of 10.
Look at that.
Okay. Who do you want to go next?
I don't know. You go. Who went first? Ben went first, so Ben go first. No, we'll go backwards, actually. We'll go backwards because Paul went. I went last, so Paul can go, then Ben can go.
Okay, well, I will say that through the majority of this film, I was at a 7. But at the end especially, it affected me so much, and I felt something that I feel like it just deserves the 8.
So, you know what? This is so interesting because I'm exactly the same. And as we were having our conversation, I thought, oh shit, these boys are going to think that I've rated this low. I'm exactly the same. It's an 8.
Yeah.
It
It
cannot
cannot not be though. That's the thing as well. It's like there is so many parts of it that are well done. Like you cannot knock most of the parts of the film. There is just it could have done more. It could have been like Black Klansman for me. Like it had that in there.
Exactly.
That is the great thing about this film, the education we get from it.
Yeah.
But I tell you one thing though, I feel more educated by this film than I did by Black Klansman. I enjoy Black Klansman more,
definitely.
for sure, and I think it's a much better film.
But the only thing is, as well,
more because of this.
Black Klansman's more about that story, which is kind of, I don't know if it's as relevant as Fred Hampton's story is in the thing. But then the thing with Black Klansman is it's all about today.
Yeah.
Like the impact is for now. It's not about this happened 50 years ago. It's like this is happening today. It's like when they start showing all of that stuff that happened in, was it Charlottesville?
Oh yeah, I know that's hard to see, man.
Like that's the type of shit that's what makes you feel like this is what's happening today in America, and all across the world as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess we go to place this now because we've just done the scores. All right, folks. So with Katie and Oti's scores, who both give it a 9, this averages out at an 8.4. This is the only film we've got at an 8.4, which means we don't even need to talk about where it places. So this is where it goes. Buster Scruggs is an 8.3. It goes above that, but below True Romance, which is an 8.5. Oh. That is so close to our top 20. It's our 22nd film on the list. 22nd best film that we've covered. And considering that we could be accused of being quite critical of the film, that is still very high praise to its quality.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm happy that it's there because it is an important film.
Yes.
And it needs its place. It needs to be seen.
We sound like real snobs by saying it's an important film. Very important film.
It is important.
Can you think of another important film that you've seen that isn't necessarily like greatly cinematic? But one that is you need to see it to be informed.
Probably the latter end of the Small Axe films.
Oh right, yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah.
Like Mangrove was stunning.
Yes,
but the others didn't.
But like Red,
really
White, and Blue,
heights.
the one about the police force, for example. Yeah, it's not very.
Yeah, I do feel like I felt very similar about this as I did about them in some way. Like they're you rate them highly, but they're not. I don't know if they're always the best. As
I was watching this, I was thinking of Black Klansman and Mangrove, And again, Mangrove did it better for me because that was informative as fuck, but also compelling as a piece of, I don't even want to call it entertainment. I don't know, as a story, I was engrossed throughout.
Yeah. And it brings and I get a whole lot of love from that film as well. Like, you feel the love, like, emanating from the screen, just the love in the cafe and stuff.
I know, but you know what? Maybe that's because it's more relatable to us because we're British. So we're seeing a case of British racism
and the songs in it and
stories.
Like,
yeah,
wonderful.
It hits closer to home. Whereas I got to say, here's something that I should say. As much as these stories need to be told, right? I'm just so fucking sick of it always being American-centric. Racism exists elsewhere, and we know it's a big problem in America, but I just... There's too much. I'm almost getting burnout because there's just it's too American-centric all the time. I, as a British person, would continue to watch stories about racism in England from different times, from different groups, and to learn more about my country's history so I can hold my country to task. I can't fucking hold America to task, man. Americans can't hold America to task. A Democratic president gets in and they don't fucking change it. America's just poisoned. They are. They ain't going to change. They ain't going to change. So the best thing to do is to get the fuck out of America.
Just come to England.
No, sure, don't. That's one place you don't go to, mate. And not because we're racist. We're not saying don't come to our country.
Don't come to our country.
We mean it ain't a lot better over here, is what we're saying.
He said it. It's on the front of the newspapers, Ben.
Exactly. That's how you
Don't
get
come to our
misquoted.
country.
That is exactly how you get misquoted. That's how these stars, when they give interviews, and they're like, I didn't say it. That's not what I meant. And people on Twitter dragging them over the coals. Don't back down on it now, man. We heard you. You said this. Look, here's the quote. Motherfuck you.
Motherfuckers. Should we move on to what other people on Twitter had to say?
Yes.
Right, yes, we got our lovely listeners and followers on Twitter to send us their reviews of Judas and the Black Messiah. We have Sean Nickerson, the wonderful patron, and he said, I love it. The performances were spot on. It's a story I wasn't aware of, told wonderfully.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Sean.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Okay.
Performances and a story you weren't aware of. That's the big take of.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Next up, we have one from Movie Drone. They said, I loved it. Fuck me.
What are you
He's having a
drinking
fit.
over there? Are you drinking water? Glug, 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 glug.
That's staying in the
Oh,
episode.
fuck now. It's gone. It's gone. I can't fathom
I'll say it
myself
for
back.
you, ready? I'll say it for you, but you've got to be ready to carry on the sentence. Kaluuya.
Yeah. I know how to say it, I just couldn't. I stumbled then. Anyway, next up we have Movie Drone. They said, I loved it. Kulu was cast. Real atmosphere.
Say it right. Oh, Adam.
Real atmosphere throughout and some iconic lines.
Daniel
what he
Kaluuya. Is it me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keanu Wave says, Daniel Kaluuya absolutely deserved his Oscar for this film. Even though he's a little too old for the role, he nails Fred Hampton's mannerisms and intensity. Yes, he was great. Do you know what I liked? I liked that he was a little bit tubby as well.
I know. He's put some timber on, mate.
Yeah. He just threw on a bit of weight for that role. Good. Good for him.
Yeah. Good.
Goes to show you don't have to be all nice and sleek to have something to say.
Exactly. That's the real takeaway.
Yes.
Us chubby men can say good shit.
What do you mean us? There ain't no chub to you, mate.
Thanks.
It's that baby stress.
Wonderful. Well, that was Judas and the Black Messiah.
Well, you must be very proud of yourself.
I think we did a very good job, Arnold. Thank you for listening. Why didn't you speak up at all during that review?
You think I'm funny, huh? You think I'm funny?
What? You think it's funny that we're talking about very serious events,
Yeah.
Arnold? Holy shit! He's revealing his true colours. I don't want Arnold on this podcast anymore.
You are disgusting.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I'm very sorry, listeners, for Arnold's behaviour on this podcast. I think it's because Adam kind of dismissed him at the beginning, so he's
What's
getting his
wrong with
feels a bit
that?
sour. It's Adam's fault, basically.
What's the matter? What's going on?
You made a fool of yourself, Arnold.
What does this mean?
A fool is someone who's like a jester, a clown, who's but not very funny in this situation, though.
This is my job.
It's true. Your job is to be a clown on screen.
This is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It is.
That's right, I am.
Anyway, much love to you, Arnold. Thanks for coming.
Going to talk to you about something very important.
What is it?
Okay, what are we going to do?
Reading, writing, arithmetics. Too much homework.
Oh, no.
That's
Arnold's-
right. We're
Arnold's
talking
on
about
one
reading
today.
and writing because our
Yes.
next segment we're talking about our patrons who have sent us in their reviews of what they've been watching this
excellent.
week.
Cheers, patrons.
Oh, excellent! That sounded very sarcastic. Like you didn't want it.
No, I did.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
What's that film from? Oh, from
Kindergarten Cop.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it made
that's
so
it.
much sense as soon as I said it. I was like,
Yes, let's move on to what our patrons have to say. They send us in every week what they've been watching this week, whether it's good or bad. They want us to know, just so we can go watch it or not watch it, basically. First of all, we have Julio from the Contrarians, and he said, I'm just going to sit back and witness these three white guys tap dance on this minefield.
Yeah.
Well,
How did we do?
did it. We did. I think we did quite well.
I don't think we said anything explosive. We're just being real.
I wouldn't say this film is a minefield.
For three white guys to
White
talk
guys,
about
yeah.
it.
But
We're very white.
Yes. It's not really for us to comment on its quality.
Yeah.
Even though it is
Yes.
quality.
Absolutely. Anyway, he said, I watched the Jet Li vehicle Hero from 2002.
Jet
It was
Li.
so much better than I expected. I've never really gotten into martial art movies, but this one might have changed my mind about the genre. Something that didn't quite happen with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Felt like a mixture of poetry and badass action sequences. Let's talk about that first.
Never seen
I
it.
haven't
Have you?
No.
I haven't seen it either.
Okay,
I
should we move
don't.
on?
Jet Li doesn't call to me, you know.
Well, maybe
I don't
this
really
is
get
the
martial
calling
art
card.
films either.
Ben.
Like, they're just not my thing, really.
Into the Dragon, I very much enjoy. That's probably my favourite martial arts film that I've seen.
The only thing is, I always find them a bit too silly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but there's still an incredible amount of skill there. It's like
There is an
wrestling,
incredible
I
amount,
suppose.
but it's like the film around it isn't there. I can't take it seriously. Like when they're on you can stand on like a sound stage with like a background that's painted, and like the
I tell you
blood is
what,
bright red.
There's
It's
a
like-
really good one called Drunken Master. It's an early Jackie Chan one where he can only
Jackie
really
Chan's wonderful.
fight if he's drunk. And his master is like this old man, long grey beard, and there's so much incredible enduring strength, feat of strength in the film. But there's this one iconic scene I remember where Jackie Chan, he's got his legs wrapped around a pole, he's upside down, and he has two tiny thimbles in his hand, and so he's upside down, and he has to use these thimbles to scoop water from two buckets that are on the floor, and then he has to crunch and then pour the water into two buckets that are up by his feet, and he has to do that
Wow.
for the entire bucket.
Crazy. That man is so creative. He's wonderful.
Who?
Jackie Chan.
He's become a bit of like just a laughing stock recently.
I know.
though. Like
but
the
has
early days,
has
he
he
was
done
good.
anything though? Did he do anything anymore?
He does. They're all just straight to VOD.
Oh, okay.
Straight to video
I
on
like
demand.
I like seeing little like behind the scenes of him showing like how he constructs a scene with different objects. I think it's quite clever.
I haven't seen any of that.
But he might be shit now. Who knows? Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Also, very happy to find out on another show that Ben has watched Only Murders in the Building. You all should. I found that
Yes.
it didn't overdo the podcasting angle, which probably would have turned into a series of easy jokes, and instead just kept it mostly as a plot engine to explore three wonderful characters.
Yeah, me
Go
and
on,
Jenny
Ben.
just finished this 2 nights ago. It was so unexpectedly lovely. It was great.
Oh.
Such a good show. Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez are 3 residents in a building. Someone is murdered, and based on their various backgrounds and whatnot, they decide what would be good is if they created a podcast called Only Murders in the Building and investigate it from within. And it's very funny, but also a very good story as well. And it feels like it should be kind of like light-hearted, and it is at moments, but it feels very fucking 18 rated at time. The language is filthy.
Really?
It's very sharp, very funny, and I loved Steve Martin and Martin Short back in the day, and to see them working together again, it's great. And there's a season 2, and I can't wait for it. It's real good. It's on Disney Plus if anyone wants to check it out in the UK.
Okay.
Do you like Father of the Bride?
Yes, I love it, and the sequel.
Yeah, I always used to watch it.
Him and Frank Bonks. Yeah, always used to watch it when I was a kid.
Same.
Do you ever see Three Amigos? That's Chevy Chase, Steve
I
Martin, and Martin
I
Short.
haven't. No.
I think I'm going to buy that because I remember loving it when I was a kid, but I can't remember anything about it other than a chapstick scene. I
Really
think I'm
holds
going to
up.
buy it. Yeah, I recommend that too. Cheers, Julio. Sean Panda Nicholson says, I tried to enjoy Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I couldn't. I hated pretty much everything about it. It was Tarantino at his most self-indulgent, and I hate the fact that I can't see what everyone else sees in it. I've seen the film twice, and I thought I'd get it if I watched it again, but it just felt more insufferable. So, Sean, I kind of feel your pain. I think
Yeah.
I like it a little bit more than you do, but I agree. Very self-indulgent.
It is
It's not
very
as great as everyone
self-indulgent,
says.
but I still doesn't feel like, for me, that doesn't make it a bad film. I still feel there's a good film, or great film within that. Yeah, I agree. I can see where its qualities are, but I don't feel, for me, that holds the film back. I feel with Tarantino, kind of in some ways, the more self-indulgent he gets, he does lend himself more to a film and the subject.
Yeah, I mean, you do expect it with him to be self-indulgent.
That's what he's all about.
But Sean, have a listen to our episodes that we recorded a couple of years back when it came out, where we picked it over a bit. I think we all pretty
You
much
did a
settled on it
special on
being
it,
a
didn't
good
you,
film.
Ben, first, and then...
Yeah, but forget that special. Just listen
I
to the
sold
three
it.
of us talk about it.
I was just felt it's a great film, but it kind of just feels like, oh, you're doing this old trait again of making an extremely over the top ending, and and making history for yourself, basically.
Yeah, but that's still fun. It's cinema. That's what you could do with cinema.
I
You
know,
make stuff yourself.
but it's kind of awkward when you're trying to save someone who's dead.
Yeah, but the romance of cinema. I don't feel
Kill
like
Hitler.
it's that big
Kill
of a
Hitler
problem.
as many times as you want for all I care. It's fine.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
I mean, I think it was better than Inglourious Bastards, but nothing is as good as the opening scene of Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right then. And yeah, so next he said, on the plus side, I watched One Night in Miami and I'm in love with that film. I foolishly have avoided this film for the longest time because I was afraid it'd just be people doing impressions of famous people, but it's so much more than that. The interplay between the characters and their friendships was spot on, and I basically loved absolutely everything about this film. The ending had me weeping and left me thinking about a lot more than the film. I will definitely be investing in the Criterion Blu-ray when it's released. Sean, we all loved that. We all loved that
Absolutely.
too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's
a wonderful film.
It's in our top 20 of all time.
It is.
Of all
Check
podcast
that episode
time.
out as well.
Sits at number 9. It's in the top 10.
Oh.
Fire.
Oh,
Yeah, we love that. Regina King, wonderful.
wonderful, wonderful.
Next up, we have Katie and OT, and they say, "Yeehaw! Start up for glorious romping Redwood with The Harder They Fall. Like the soundtrack, this film speaks for itself. Pair it with Judas and the Black Messiah for a black cinema excellent double billing. Hot doggy, 2 cowboy emojis, and they are actually cowboy emojis this time.
They're actually bulletproof vests, Adam.
Yes. I haven't watched The Harder They Fall yet, but I will
I
get
need
round
to see
to
it.
watching
I
it
wanna
at some
see it.
point. I know Jay-Z did the soundtrack, didn't he?
He did the element. Yes, he's a producer on it, but most of the songs are reggae songs, and it works because you're watching
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
you're watching a cowboy film, and then you've got a reggae soundtrack throughout.
I love
which
the
is-
Yeah, I was
sound
going
of
to
that.
watch it the other night, and then our internet went down, so I didn't bother. But
I
yeah,
can't remember where
did.
I saw it, but someone said it's the equivalent of a Marvel film, a black cowboy Marvel film, and I can kind of see that.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I don't know. Maybe when you watch it, it makes sense. But yeah, for the moment,
It's
well,
a
just
good.
your little saying that it's a reggae on a cowboy film, that sounds absolutely wonderful to me.
I will definitely get round. It's one of those films I kind of want to make a bit of time to watch.
One heads up, maybe it was just me and Jenny, but we had to have we had to put subtitles on for the entire film after the first 20 minutes because their accents are so thick. They're doing that real thick cowboy
Yeah.
drawl, and we were missing
okay.
so much.
Okay.
Interesting.
Aye. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good.
I'll watch it soon.
Yeah.
Lastly, we have Jamie Russell, and he said, I enjoyed watching Censor, the acclaimed film debut of British director Prano Bailey Bond. Set in 1985 at the height of the video nasties moral panic, the film follows the activities of a BBFC film censor played memorably by Neve Algar, who is pulled into the dark and murky world of a censorship and tabloid frenzy during the short 85-minute runtime. I remember this period of time very well. I spent most of the late 80s and early 90s successfully sourcing pirate copies of forbidden films such as Clockwork Orange, The Exorcist, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and rallying against the constraints of imposed censorship at the time. Therefore, this subject matter was always going to appeal to me, which might have influenced my rating to a degree. Anyway, I'm keen to give it another watch in due course. That sounds interesting.
I always love Jamie
Yeah.
when he puts his little history about everything and what it means.
Yes, he's very informed about things.
It's not all just it's all about this is that, this means this.
I love it when a film informs on your past as well.
Yeah.
So that's quite lovely. That
I
does
know.
sound very interesting.
People were losing their shit about it when it was coming out. I'd heard good things. But it's one of them ones you got to bloody pay for because it's a more recent release.
Yes.
Times is tight. I've got to go with what's streaming first before what I can pay for, you see.
We'll get to it one day, I'm sure.
One day we will.
Yes.
Well, thank you, wonderful patrons.
Yes.
Some wonderful films there. I'm
We
definitely gonna check
appreciated
some
all
those
of it
out.
big time.
So before we wrap this episode up, we got to say what we're going to do next time. What are we going to do, Ben?
We are going to do my pick, which is a cinema release, and it's going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, shit. Our namesake.
Our namesake. We always said we would never cover Ghostbusters because and if we did, it would be in our final ever episode of this podcast. So in the meantime, we'll take care of Afterlife. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
In
I
a
really
year
don't
where
know what
you've
to
got
expect.
Halloween, and Ghostbusters in the same year. Oh,
they're
Who
playing
you
your
gonna call?
heartstrings.
joy of joys that is, mate.
Beautiful.
So we're going to be
Right.
coming to you with that very, very soon.
Very exciting. I can't wait for that.
Yes.
Just
But if you want some wonderful content from us, we're going to record a wonderful episode about real people doing some speeches in films. And
that's
our
right.
favourite ones of those.
yes.
In our Patreon episode, you can go over there at www.patreon.com/filmbusters. Otherwise, I guess we'll just see you next time.
We'll see you next time, and thank you for listening as always.
Peace out.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Katie and OT. What a wonderful film.
Thanks for the shout.
Filmbusters.